Hello and welcome to Nikolay's genetics lessons, and this video going to be about population genetics. And here's a problem. Suppose a population starts with 10,000 homozygous dominant individuals, 20,000 of heterozygous individuals, and 10,000 of homozygous recessive individuals. Question A. What is the frequency of the dominant allele, and is this population in Hardy-Weinberg or not? So if you think that you can solve this problem, I recommend to pause video here and try to solve this problem on your own first, and when you will be ready you can run video again and you can compare your answers with my answers and explanations. So here is the first question. What is the frequency of the dominant allele A? So we have three genotypes. One is homozygous dominant, another one is heterozygous, and the last one homozygous recessive. And we have 10,000 individuals that belong to this genotype, 20,000 individuals that belong to this genotype, and 10,000 individuals that belong to this genotype. And 10,000 individuals here, each one has two dominant alleles. That means that we have to multiply this number by 2. So total number of dominant alleles here would be 20,000. So if we have 10,000 AA, that means that we have 20,000 of allele A, right? Here we have 20,000 individuals whose genotype is capital A, small a. That means that here we have 20,000 dominant allele A, and we have also 20,000 recessive allele A. So once again, we have 20,000 individuals, each has dominant allele A, so we have 20,000 dominant allele A here, and each also has recessive allele A, so also we have 20,000 recessive allele A here. And here we have 10,000 individuals, each one has two recessive alleles. That means that here we have 20,000 recessive alleles A. So now we have to combine this number with this, and this dominant number of dominant alleles with this number. So we are going to get a total number of dominant alleles that would equal to 40,000. Once again, 20,000 here, 20,000 here in heterozygous genotype, so let me underline. And we also have a recessive allele here and also in this genotype. So once again, 20,000 plus 20,000 give us number of recessive allele A, 40,000. So now we can answer the first question, what is the frequency of the dominant allele A? And as you see, we have dominant allele A that is present in quantity 40,000, and recessive allele A also present in the same quantity, in the same frequency. So we can say that frequency of the dominant allele A would be 1/2 or 50%, and frequency of the recessive allele A also would be 1/2 or 50%. So next question, is this population in Hardy-Weinberg? And here is a formula for the Hardy-Weinberg. So frequency of the three genotypes would equal to p squared plus 2pq plus q squared, and all this equals to 1 or 100%. For the p squared in this formula stands homozygous dominant genotype, for 2pq stands heterozygous genotype, and for the q squared stands homozygous recessive genotype. So in other words, p plus q equals to 1. And in our formula, p stands for the dominant allele A and q stands for the recessive allele A. And according to this formula that we call Hardy-Weinberg Formula or equilibrium. So we have found that frequency of the dominant allele P is 0.5 and frequency of the recessive allele Q 0.5, or in our example this is dominant allele A and recessive allele A. So as for the P squared, we have to multiply 0.5 by 0.5, and we are going to get here 1/4, right? If we multiply 0.5 by 0.5, or if we square 0.5. So we are going to get here 1/4. This is going to be frequency of this genotype, and frequency of heterozygous genotype would be P multiplied by Q and multiplied by 2. So P 0.5 multiplied by 0.5 would be 0.25, and multiplied by 2 would be 0.5 or 1/2. And once again, Q squared stands here for the homozygous recessive genotype, so we have to multiply frequency of the recessive allele A by itself, so 0.5 we have to multiply by 0.5. So once again, here we are going to get 0.25 or 1/4. Let's now compare these numbers. So if we add 10,000 plus 20,000 plus 10,000, we are going to get 40,000, and 10,000 represents 1/4, 20,000 represent 1/2, and 10,000 here represent 1/4. So we can say that allelic frequency in this population is in Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium. So we gave an answer to the first two questions, and let's move to the question B. And now question B: suppose all homozygous recessive individuals, or these individuals, die before reproducing, while on average homozygous dominant and heterozygous individuals leave the same number of offspring. So the same, both these genotypes would leave the same number of offspring. What is the fitness of these three genotypes? And this is easiest question. We compare fitness on the scale between 0 and 1, or 0 and 100%. So on this scale 1 equals to 100%, so we can convert numbers very easily from one system into another. So we can say that fitness of these two genotypes would be maximum, or 100% or 1. So fitness of this genotype would equal to 1, and this fitness of this genotype also would equal to 1, or as you see 100%. And all these individuals who belong to this genotype would die before reproducing. So we can say that fitness of this genotype would be 0. So for example, if 50% of this genotype would survive to reproductive age, we would say that fitness would be 1/2 or 0.5, or if 30% would survive, we would say 0.3 would be fitness. And once again, if 90% would survive, we would say that fitness is 0.9. So as you see, this is easiest question. And this is all for today. Thank you for your attention. Please subscribe for my new videos that I post almost every day. Thumbs up if you like this video. Please write your comments, questions if you have any. And see you in the next video. Goodbye.